Hey guys, and welcome back to the Devine Witch. Today we are going to go over tarot, as you can see. Now, I've had you guys ask me this for a while to go over the tarot. What does the cards mean? How do I read? All that fun stuff. So, I'm going to break it down. I'm not going to teach you everything in like 2 hours. Now, one thing I am going to let you know, I'm not going to go into the full history, description. I'm going to also give you guys a website to use that will help you learn the cards as well. So as you're watching this video, you can split screen, you can check it out or pull it up on your phone and you can see exactly what I'm seeing. But before we get started, I want to say thank you guys to those of you who decided to become Patreon supporters. You guys make videos like this possible. You help me upgrade with new equipment and stuff like this chair. Thank you so much, because my back has been killing me, because as you guys know, I sat in a kitchen chair. I'm in my spiritual room currently right now, and it just makes it so easier, especially when I'm answering emails and all that fun jazz that just is boring. Either way, let's go ahead and let's dive into the major arcana. Alright, so as we get started, the deck that I'm going to be using today to show you guys is the Gothic Tarot. This was bought for me by a beautiful subscriber. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I will link it down below so you guys can find it if you do like the deck. Just so you know, here is what the back of it looks like. It is very pretty. So you can also see this as kind of like a unboxing in a way, but you're only getting it slowly, little bits at a time. Before we get started, I want to say this. There are a few different types of ways to read. When it comes to reading tarot, you can do it by your intuition, you can do it by your guides, you can do it by the spirits, you can do it by emotions, feelings. You can even just look at the card and see what the symbolism means to you. But there is a certain description that comes with these cards. Now, me personally, when I do readings, I don't just follow what it is. It can be different from each individual, just depending on what the cards are surrounding and also what the feeling I get. If I feel anything physically, or if I hear anything, see anything, then I put that out there. So just so you guys know, this is how I read. You will find eventually your own way of reading. You will find your own cards. I know there's a big thing about, like, you can't buy your first deck. You can. Here's what I always say. Do what feels right for you. If you don't want to purchase your first deck because of some witchy superstition, then don't. Now, I've heard tales that it was an Italian witchcraft kind of thing as far as where that came from. I never really looked into it myself. It's just one of those things that came up during topics with other witchers, so to speak, or witches. Toss a coin to your witcher. Yeah. That's the kind of video and the kind of person I am. So if that's not you, then you may not find this video informational. But I am going to try to help you guys. I'm going to give you resources as well. And each Monday I will release until we are done with all of the cards. And yeah, some of you might get ahead when you see the site, and you know, that's up to you. And you guys can let me know down below, you know, after these videos, if you have any extra questions or something that you didn't really quite understand, or maybe you didn't see cards well. You know, just let me know. When it comes to decks, especially choosing your deck, one of the most main known decks that you're going to hear about is the Rider deck. Do you have to use the Rider deck as your first? No. It is about you. Just make sure that you know the difference between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. They are quite different. Oracle decks do not follow the same suit. And if you are doing this with playing cards, it'll be a little bit different. And eventually I will make a cartomancy video to go over that. Now, a little bit of the history. This used to be considered a card game. There's some old decks that you can look up online that they found. And this was kind of one of those pastime things. Eventually it did become a tarot reading kind of thing where you could read into people's futures. There's quite a different variety of mythologies when it comes to that, as where did it start, where does it end, that kind of thing. But today we know them as tarot decks. So, you know, do it at your own pace. Don't feel stressed. Don't feel overwhelmed. When you get a new deck, always remember, you know, it's got to know you. You get to know it. Each deck has its own energy. This deck that I'm using is a little bit more of a darker energy. So when I read somebody with it, I take more of a darker tone with it. It also depends on the deck, because I've got like 10 decks right now. So, you know, that's between Oracle and regular tarot deck. So let's go without any further ado and dive into the major arcana. So the first card that we are going to talk about is the Fool. Now, if you plan to get this deck, this is what the Fool looks like. It is a very beautiful card. I'm trying to angle it to where you guys get a pretty good description of it, of exactly what it looks like. Now, if this was upright, which is another thing I want to talk about before we get started. So you guys seen this card? See it, isn't it pretty? It's very, I love the green color. It's like a green teal kind of vibe. Now, when it comes to reading, there are a few variants and it depends on you. Now, this website that I'm using to help reference you and make this video for, they get both the upright and the reversed. Do you have to read the reversed? You do not. It's up to you. It's your personal preference. Now, personally, this is how I see it, and take it with a grain of salt, because you know, the saying goes around here, no two witches witch the same. So, my personal belief is this. If I'm going to read only upright, I'm only willing to give you the good things that are coming your way. If it comes up reversed and I decide to read it upright, I am not giving you the right information, because that's the opposite of what it showed. So that's how I personally believe. You do not have to believe that. Some may disagree with that, and that's why every two witches witch differently. So for the Fool card, if it's in an upright position, it's beginnings, innocent, and a free spirit. If it is reversed, you're being held back, reckless, and risk-taking. Now, you may get this card, and to you, the Fool may seem like someone who's acting a fool. It just depends on you. This is a guide reference, not a lifestyle that's like, ooh, you must read it this way, and if you don't, you will be visited by the 3 ghosts of the tarot. It don't happen that way. I mean, you'll occasionally open a portal here and there, but you know, it'll be alright. So, the next one that we are going to go into, if my cards won't stick together, is the Magician. Now, this is a very beautiful representation, I believe, in my personal opinion, as I try to get it to focus and not be blinding. But also, keep in mind with this deck, it is a semi-gloss deck. So, you know, keep that in mind if you plan to do online readings, or, you know, when you're shuffling, because sometimes they're going to fly out a lot easier than your normal decks that don't have that coating on them. And we'll get into that here in a second. I'm going to read you the description, and then we're going to talk about cards that flip out. So, upright is manifestation, resourcefulness, power, and action. Inspired action. If it is reversed, manipulation, poor decision making and planning, and untapped talents. So, depending on what you're reading between the other cards, depends how this is going to be, but you are going to get it depend on if it's upright or reversed. Now, there's also another big thing that you'll hear in the tarot community. So, if a card pops out, do I read that? Me personally, I do. Because I see that as, here's your sign, you better learn. And if you don't, we try to help you. And sometimes it can happen when you're just shuffling just to get to know your cards. Sometimes it'll happen when you're getting ready to do a reading and you've only got like half a shuffle in and pop. Now, if you're someone that deals with shaky hands a lot, like really bad, if you're someone who, you know, you messed up and that half the pile pops out, like spread everywhere like you're playing 52 card pickup, obviously that's not a message. That's you and dealer's error, pretty much. So just keep that in mind. You can read them, you cannot. Me personally, I do read them. Just for the reason being that's something that needs to be talked about, whether or not it's geared towards your question or what else the reading is popping out as well. Normally, it gives more context when it happens, or it's a direct answer. So just kind of keep that in mind as you are reading. So the next card that we are going to do is the High Priestess. And this is what it looks like here. Now, this gives me very Isis, Egyptian vibes when I see this. For you guys, it may be a little bit different. You may see another goddess in it, but, no two witches, right? So in the upright position, it is intuition, sacred knowledge, divine femininity, and subconscious mind. In reverse, secrets, disconnected from intuition, withdrawal, and silence. So take it as you will. Now, I will say this for those of you out there who are struggling, especially in learning tarot. Most decks, I'm going to show you one, but it's not really a tarot deck. It's more of a oracle deck, but I am going to show you what I mean. Now, if you buy the deck that I'm currently showing you guys, the deck I got did not come with an instruction manual or a book. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, here's your cards, good luck. But I didn't pay that much, so I'm not going to be complaining about it. Especially, I've been doing this for like 18 years, so, the book to me is just like, oh, that's nice, that's cute, thanks. But, like I said, so this is not a tarot deck, but this is one of the books I got from an oracle deck. You will have things like this, and it'll give you descriptions, and it'll tell you about the card, and you can go with this forever. So let's say you're starting on readings, it comes with a book, right? Don't feel afraid to use that book. Just tell the person, like, hey, I'm new. You mind being my test dummy? Or you mind let me read you a couple times? Or, normally people don't mind, especially when they're your friends, unless they're, like, really superstitious. They don't mind you reading their tarot. They understand that you're new. So if you pop out a book, don't be insecure about it. Everybody learns different. And some people, they continue by the book for the whole time that they're using cards. It just depends on the person. So don't let it get you down. So the next card that we are going to do is called the Empress. Now this one is very beautiful. It kind of gives me that Lilith vibe when I look at it, just with the coffin, the little skulls on it, but it is very beautiful. And it does, all these cards have that like almost blue undertone. Now if it's in the upright position, it is female energy, beauty, nature, nurturing, and abundance. Now if it is reversed, it's a creative block, dependence on others. So, it's pretty simple to read. And also, you guys can always use a site to kind of, it's almost like the way that it's set up is, imagine, you remember the flashcards when you were in school? It's kind of like that. So, like, you can just hover over it, or you can click the card and it'll give you everything about it, what the symbolism in each card means. And, but for just the typical, okay, this is what it means, these are the like few keywords associated with this card, it's perfect for new beginners. So the next one that we're going to do is the Emperor. And this one gives me like Dracula 2000 kind of vibes. And it's beautiful and stunning, because the brides of Dracula kind of thing going on here. I'm trying to make it, there we go. So it's very pretty. I like this deck. I really love it. Thanks, the biscuit. Mwah. You're awesome. Anyway, authority, establishment, and a father figure is what it means when it's upright. So reversed, domination, excessiveness, lack of control, and discipline. So, whenever you're reading these, no matter if you plan to use them, upright or not, just remember that these are some things. So even if you're reading it upright, be like, well, maybe, you need to get better with like, certain things in your life. Sometimes we all get into that point where, we're lacking of discipline, no matter if it's like setting a routine or something like that. You don't have to be a douchebag about it when you're reading somebody. So the next one is the only card in these decks that I always have trouble saying. Hierophant is how I say it, but I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. So, good luck on that one. And then For this deck, it's a little bit different. It's called the High Priest. And it's got that Nosferatu kind of vampire vibe going on as far as the cards go. So it is a very pretty card. So always remember, if I don't forget to tell you, upright is always going to be the first description. Reversed is always going to be the second, just so we know. So for the upright, we've got spiritual wisdom, religious beliefs, conformity, tradition, and institutions. Now, in reverse, it's personal belief, changing freedom, and challenging the status quo. So if I was going to remember that, I would say in the beginning, you're on a spiritual journey. You're a very spiritual person. You try to be traditional. Those are the two things that I would remember from that. Traditionalism and spirituality. And then if it was reversed, imagine personal freedom, being that free spirit. So, there's certain keywords you can take from each of these and make it your own to make it easier for you to identify with as well. So, the Lovers, which everybody loves to get, right? And, oh, God, I love this deck. It really gives me that teenage vampire and love come bite me vibes, you know what I mean? We all had that stage in our life, didn't we? Or at least I did. So, with the Lovers, upright, love, harmony, relationship values, and alignment and choices. In reverse, self-love, disharmony, imbalance, misalignment of values. So you're probably asking, well, how do I know if it's like self-love or it's a disharmony? Always look around your cards. So like, let's say you're doing a Celtic cross, right? So this one is going this way, which means what's blocking you, and you see it's reversed, right? Which, by the way, I will eventually make a video of all the different spreads. I'm going to have to make some things, so just give mommy a minute. But then you would see, okay, you are being blocked by, something in your relationship that deals with love. It could either be love of another person, love of a family member, a friend, but this is blocking you. And then that's when they're going to have to chime in and be like, okay, well, this is what's going on. And then you can read from that, and then it'll help you make cards make sense. Now, the next one that we got is the Chariot. And this one I love because it gives me that Ichabod Crane kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like that dark chariot in the night kind of vibe. And I love it. All right. So in upright, it is control, willpower, success, and determination along with action. Then in reverse, self-discipline, opposition, and lack of direction. So if it's going, and me personally, here's another one for the Chariot. When I see it going forward, I see you moving forward past something in life. When I see it reversed, I see you going back to old habits, old ways. So that's how I interpret it. Oh, crap. I clicked on the wrong thing. My bad. All right. So we got strength. And this one's very pretty as well. Very freeing. So this one is strength, courage, persuasion, influence, and compassion. That's an upright position. In reverse position, it is inner strength, self-doubt, low energy, and raw emotion. So, we all know. Then we got the Hermit, which this is like, I'm sending my flying monkeys after you, but they're bats. And that's the kind of vibe I get. You cannot tell me I'm wrong. So when we get the Hermit, in the upright, soul-searching, introspect, alone, inner guidance. Reversed, isolation or withdrawn. Now, me personally, when I see the Hermit, I also associate it with the mental state. So, mentally, we're going through some difficult times. We're going through some issues. When I see it in reverse, it's us coming out of that shell. So for me, it's a little bit different than what it is here. But like I said, each reader is different, and you make it your own. Okay, so the next one we got is the Chariot, which gives me this like golden dragon, Eastern kind of vibe, which I love, along with a little bit of a Celtic flair. So when we go to the website I was telling you guys about, in the upright position, it's good luck, harmony, karma, destiny, and turning point. Reverse, it's bad luck, or, breaking cycles, resistance to change. Now, me personally, whenever I read this, I always tell them when it's an upright position, always remember there is a sacrifice that has to be made. But that's me personally. You don't have to. It's a thing. So the next card that we are going to go over is the Justice card, which this one is very beautiful. There we go. See, I'm getting the hang of this now with the camera. So, with this Justice card, it's fairness, truth, cause, and effect. You know what I mean? Kind of finding that balance in between. And then we got unfairness, lack of accountability, and dishonesty. That's for when it's in reverse. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. If something's showing up in reverse and it has to deal with this person, then you know the person that you're reading has issues with either lying or not telling the truth to those around them, and that's what's causing them the issue. Now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, I don't want to get into that. That's up to you and your reading. Me personally, I call them out on it and put them in their place, because at that point, you know, somebody's got to. And if it's a stranger who's never met them, reading them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh shit, they're calling me out. Like, look at that. So they're not going to put it on you because you're just reading the cards. So on this next one, we got the Hanged Man, which for you may see it differently than what's being described, but I am going to read it. So upright is pause, surrender, letting go, or getting a new perspective. If it's in reverse, it's delay, resistance, stalling in a decision. So for me, when I read that, you know, depending on which way it is, and also depending on the other cards, can change or mutate the outcome of what it needs. You know, like, let's say if I see it going upright, then maybe if the other cards are good, then maybe, you know, you're finally getting yourself up and into a position where you're ready to keep on going. And, you know, it just really depends on what cards are around it, what the vibe is you're getting. So always keep that in mind. So the next card that we got is the Death card, which this one is very beautiful as well. Look at those colors. Very pretty. Ending, change, transformation, and transition, upright position. In reverse, resistance to change, personal transformation, inner purge. Also with this card, be ready for people to say, oh my god, am I gonna die? No, Becky, you're not gonna die. It'll be okay. You will live. I got another card that deals with somewhat similar situation. Or a few, actually. So the next card that we got is Temperance. Temperance is balance, meditation, patience, and purpose. Upright position, of course. Balance, excessive self-healing, and realignment if it's in reverse. And this is basically what that looks like, which to me was like witchy vibes times 100. Look at that. She's casting it. Alright. So, the card that I was telling you, that was coming, is the Devil card. No, the devil is not after you. No, he's not trying to summon you. Get over yourself. You're not that precious. Alright, so with the Devil card, it is pretty and all of its little dark glory. And especially if you have this deck, you're definitely going to get that question in. So, upright, shadow self, attraction, addiction, restriction, sexuality. Reverse, releasing limited beliefs, exploring dark thoughts, detachment. Also, when I see the devil, I see it when it's upright as someone's trying to control a situation. If it's reverse, you're detaching from that situation. Then the next one we got, which you're going to hear a lot about, is, oh my gosh, that does not look good. It's alright, you'll be fine. Is the Tower card. Now this one is kind of like, you know, once again, you're getting that vampiric, witchy vibe, like, come to my castle. But it means sudden change, uphill, chaos, revelation, awakening. Reverse, personal transformation, fear of change, and averting disaster. So, you know, it just depends on how you want to read it. Me, normally when I see the Tower, I just go, oh baby, you've been through a lot, haven't you? And then I explain, and I try not to make it so like, because then, you know, especially if you're doing like live readings like I am, you don't want to draw too much attention to people and make them feel like, oh, now my shit's out there in the air. That's just my personal opinion. Excuse the language. I am real. So we got the Star. Now, I find this very pretty, and it also makes me think of a very angelic, but a dark angelic kind of vibe. Like, sending down from heaven kind of vibe. You know what I mean? And this one, upright, is hope, faith, purpose, renewal, and spirituality. Reverse, lack of inspiration, despair, self-trust, disconnect. But I also see this as people making a wish, trying to manifest something in their life. And if it's in reverse, then that manifestation has yet to come into their life. So the next one that we got is the Moon card, which I think this gives very Sailor Moon type of vibes. We've seen this kind of imagery on a lot of things geared towards pagans, witches, or just those who love that fairy type of feel. Upright, it is illusion, fear, anxiety, depression, subconscious, and intuition. Reversed, release of fear, repressed emotion, inner confusion. I also see it as a connection to things that are magical, dream magic, seeing things in your dreams. It could be, you know, finally figuring this connection with the moon, your emotions as well. Then we've got the Sun card coming up, which you knew that you weren't going to make it too bright and colorful for us, but it is the Sun card. So we got positivity, warmth, success, vitality, and fun in the upright position. In the reverse position, we got inner child, feeling down, and optimistic. So when I see that, I see it as new opportunities coming. I see it as a new adventure. I see it as taking fun. Now, if it's in reverse, it's going to be the total opposite of all that. Like I said, also depends on who I'm reading as well. So, Judgment is going to be our next card in the major arcana. And this is what it looks like for here. So it kind of gives you that graveyard angel help me moment, you know what I mean? And we've got Judgment, Rebirth, Inner Calling, and Absolution. This is in the upright position. The next one's going to be for the reversed, which is self-doubt, inner critic, and ignoring the call, which is kind of hard, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes with this, like I said, it depends on what cards I see around it, but there is times where I associate this with someone's having judgment placed on them, or they're making a judgment on themselves. Context. So for our last and final of the major arcana, we've got none other than the World, which I know this looks pretty dark for the World, but it is very pretty. Kind of giving you that, what's his name? You'll get it. You'll figure it out. Somebody will write it down below and I'll be like, that's it. So in the upright position, it's completion, accomplishment, travel. In reverse, seeking personal disclosure, shortcuts, and delays. Now, when I read the World personally, I read it as everything is coming into being, everything is working out. If it's in reversed, there's some things that need completed before, you know, you can feel this wholeness that you're looking for. And that's pretty much how I read it as. So guys, we did it. We made it. You learned a few things. You learned about the major arcana, and also got a new little link down below. So if you guys like this video, if you want to support me in some way, subscribe, like, and comment, because it does help the channel. Share with your friends, or if you have a certain something that you want to add down below, maybe a book, a reference, just experience from being a reader, please feel free to use that comment section down below for it. Because here we're a community. We build each other up. We help each other learn. You know, me personally, I hate reading myself, and you guys know that. And this site kind of gives me that, okay, this is what I'm reading. It's not just me putting my energy and hoping for the things coming to be and the cards picking that up. So without further ado, thank you guys once again for joining me. Thank you guys for subscribing, liking, and commenting. And thank you once again to our Patreon supporters for helping us be able to keep on doing what we're doing. And that's it, my guys and my gals and my aliens from another galaxy. Until next time, always remember, no two witches witch the same.